Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone.
Hi.
So right now we are here because we are going to do an interview with our guest. But first, we are going to introduce ourselves. My name is Adinda Tiwaning Tias and my friend.
My name is Sultan Rabani.
Okay.
Before we get into the first question in today's interview, we will give time to let our guest to introduce herself. So, Mbak Nana, time is yours.
Okay. Thank you. Hello. My name is Diana Setiawati, or you can call me Nana. Currently, I'm working with UNESCO Jakarta as project coordinator. I've been working with UNESCO Jakarta for now is entering the 7 years.
Oh.
And before joining with UNESCO, I have been working with various international agencies and United Nations. So yeah, I actually graduated from Gajah Mada University as well, but from social and politics faculty from communication department.
Oh.
So I think we are in the same alumna.
So, so for the first question, actually, I already searched about the meaning of UNESCO. As far as I know, UNESCO is organization that focus on education, science, and culture. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so. Manana, can you explain it more about UNESCO with your perspective?
Yeah. So I'm working with UNESCO Jakarta with the unit of culture actually. So besides culture, there are different units and departments in UNESCO Jakarta and also UNESCO globally. Like you said, we focus on the education and then scientific and then capacity building, disaster risk reduction, and yeah, so those type of things. But we also work for the youth empowerment and the social inclusion. So it's a quite old organization,
Yeah.
and the mandates of the UNESCO, the one that make it different with the other United Nations agencies is the word culture. So that's why UNESCO is very popular in globally because we are also protecting World Heritage sites and cultural heritage sites all over the world, and we are working with each of the member states, which is the countries, to protect the heritage sites. So maybe also I encourage you to check on the website of UNESCO Jakarta, so you know more about UNESCO Jakarta. Besides working for culture, like I said, we also working for education, science, and even also disaster reduction and mitigation. And also we are doing a lot of research. Um, UNESCO Jakarta is actually working not only for Indonesia, but we also supporting other countries in Southeast Asia. So we are working with the Philippines, with the Brunei, and also Malaysian. They are all reporting to UNESCO Jakarta. So in my unit itself, in culture unit, I responsible for work in Indonesia, but my other colleagues, besides working for Indonesia, they also support other activities in other countries, like I mentioned.
That's good explanation.
Too long, yeah?
No. So, Manana, as a project coordinator in Culture Unit UNESCO Jakarta, what your duties?
What?
What your duties as project coordinator?
Oh, my duties, yeah.
Yes.
So when I started working with UNESCO Jakarta, hang on, let me ask my kid to.
We'll be back.
Sorry.
It's
Okay.
okay.
as project coordinator UNESCO Jakarta, actually when I started with UNESCO in 2014, I was actually hired to take care of the work about conservation and community empowerment around Borobudur temple compounds. So as you know, Borobudur is one of the World Heritage Sites which are promoted by UNESCO and also owned by the government of Indonesia. And we are so proud of that cultural heritage, and we wanted to make sure that the preservation aspect and protection to the monument is done regularly. So there are several projects that owned by UNESCO Jakarta, facilitated by UNESCO Jakarta, funded by different donor like German government, Australian government, and other international donors, where it makes us able to provide conservation support and also community empowerment support around Borobudur. But then starting on 2015, my responsibility goes to goes wider. So we go to Prambanan, and then we also start to receive grants for youth empowerment program, where we also work for outside of Jawa. We can work with Toba areas, and then Lombok areas, and then Bali areas. So if you ask about my responsibility, it's a growing responsibility from starting from one site in Borobudur. Now I'm in charge for around 12 districts in Indonesia because of this youth empowerment program. Like I said before, you can see our project in Kita Muda Kreatif Instagram, where we provide support for 400 youth entrepreneurs. So people like you, the youngsters from 18 to 30, but who have business in cultural, in creative industries and cultural products. So this is like, you know, like batik makers, and then ulos weavers, and then painting, dancers, tour guides in Borobudur, tour guides in Prambanan, tour guides in Bali, young farmers in Bali. So those who are actually living in surround World Heritage Sites, and they are doing activities to preserve their culture, but also having creative industries. So me and my team have a team based in Jogja, but we also provide support for all these 12 districts. We work with the anthropologists, we work with the business mentors, we work with the academics, we work with the universities to provide different type trainings, different type capacity building support, technical support like branding, and also marketing and promotion training for these 400 youths. And yeah, you can see some of the results in our Instagram account.
Maybe you
So
can
that's,
try. Maybe you can
sorry?
try. Maybe you can try to promote in Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. Maybe.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, actually, I think for the last 2 years, I've been invited by different universities to speak about these programs, and I'm actually happy to do that. It's free anyway. It's free, yeah. So I always happy to to share and also get the young people inspired, because when I used to be a student, I also at the time when I was still in university, I also have a wish to work with the international agencies, but I don't know how, So maybe I can also share some inspirations and some stories about my work. So feel free, if you want me to speak about this to your friends or your class, we can arrange.
Okay. So for next question, Mbak Nana,
Yeah.
have you been working with a local communities around UNESCO World Heritage Sites? Do you mind to share your
Yeah.
experience to us?
Of course. So maybe I just pick example in Borobudur maybe because Pak Mars is also from there. So in Borobudur, there are many, there are 20 villages surrounding this monument, yeah, Borobudur Monument. And every year, the monument is visited by more than 3 million tourists. But we also identified and we also found out that the local communities around Borobudur, not all of them feel the benefit of this popular monument. You know, like um, there are more and more investors coming, and like souvenirs that they sell in the monuments is not really produced locally. And then the young guides the guides in Borobudur, the younger generation, they don't know how to have access to work as a guide in the monument, those type of things. So UNESCO Jakarta work closely with the offices who in charge for Borobudur, like Balai Konservasi Borobudur and PT Taman, and also dinas-dinas in Magelang district. We provided trainings, and also we provided like sessions for the local communities to understand more about their potential of being Borobudurians, or being as a local community around Borobudur. As a matter of fact, we are actually, for the last 2 years, I'm in charge to produce a book about cultural mapping, about creative industries and cultural activities around Borobudur, where we work with anthropologists, and we went into these 20 villages around Borobudur. We had discussions with them. They provided stories about their village, and like maybe you heard about Gereja Ayam.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Gereja Ayam is located close to Pondok Setumbu, or it's in the Karangrejo village. So yeah, this village, they have a spots. So we can encourage the tourists, so not only visiting Borobudur Monument, but also visiting this village, testing their food, testing their culinars, buying their souvenirs, experiencing work, living in the village, and eventually giving more and more income to the local communities. So we are working closely with the government officials and also the village government to do this type of activities. So yes, I've been working very closely with the local communities for the last 5 years.
So for the next question, can you tell us the
Silakan.
reason, Nana? Why did you
Yes.
choose to work at UNESCO?
Why? Yeah, it's quite funny. You want my honest question, my honest answer, or?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So I used to work with IOM Indonesia. Have you heard about IOM?
No.
International Organization for Migration.
Mm.
It was big before in Jogja when there was an earthquake.
Oh.
Yeah, so this agency, this is actually one of the UN agency also. I worked with IOM for 7 years in Jakarta and also in Jogja. So on 2013, when I worked with IOM Jogja, just 2 years after I moved from Jakarta, uh, I got a very big news, which I'm pregnant. So at the time we have been waiting for, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 years. So I decided, okay, so let me take my time. So I want to, I want to enjoy of being a mother. So I want to resign and welcoming my baby, those type of things. And my boss understand my decision. So after 7 years working with IOM, I resigned, And they said, okay, if you are ready to go back, then you can just tell us. So afterwards, after my baby in 5 months, IOM actually asked me, do you want to come back? If you want, we can have a position in Jakarta. But I look at my baby and I say like, oh, I want to raise my daughter. It may be in Jogja. It's peaceful here and no pollution. And being a mother, being a new mother, I feel like I want to work in a more comfortable condition. So I said, oh no, I want to find something in Jogja. And then suddenly a friend of mine uh, called me and said that she's working with UNESCO and she looked for colleagues to take care of like 3 months work with UNESCO. So I said, I can help if only 3 months, like it's okay, I can help you. It's like doing a launching of the of the event, and so she said, you sure you want to work with UNESCO? And I said, why not? I'm free now, and if it is for 3 months, it doesn't hurt for me. So yeah, they asked me to join the interview. So I did the test and interview. So I passed the test. And after 3 months, it's not 3 months anymore. Now it's already 7 years. So yeah, the real motivation is a personal choice to work in Jogja. But then after I joined UNESCO, I feel like I can contribute more because I love working with local communities, and Indonesia is very rich of culture. So I'm thinking of creating many interesting programs which can give benefits to the community. So yeah, that's my passion.
Okay. Next
Too long,
question.
yeah, Sultan.
It's okay. What are the joys of working at UNESCO?
Sorry.
What are the joys of working at UNESCO?
Oh, the joys of working with UNESCO. I think the joys of working with UNESCO that I can learn a lot, because UNESCO is like a big and old agency with all the thinkers, all the policy makers. There are like lots of professors, like, so I have every day I have to learn new things. Until now, still I always learn new things. And working with UNESCO, I really love it because I feel like I'm contributing to my country, Indonesia. I help people to love their culture, like preserving batik, preserving ulos, preserving their candi, preserving sangiran, and other things. So I really love it when I can, through my program, encourage people to see how great our country is, how great our culture is, and let's preserve it together.
So, last question, Manana. What was the
Sure.
most memorable thing about being part of UNESCO?
Oh, most memorable. Apa ya?
I think it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think it's quite a lot, but I feel sometimes uh, I feel touched when during the events, like when I visited our assisted beneficiaries, like like the Ulos weavers in Toba. Some of them, they really live in a very remote places, yeah, in the village, in the far village, like they making ulos, like tendun ulos, in their home with their baby. And then there are one case that this ulos maker, the ulos, always there is someone come to pick the ulos at during every Saturday, and then even before it finish. So like maybe in Indonesia you call it sistem ijon, yeah. It's not finished yet, but there are pengepul. There are pengepul who take the ulos and then they pay it with a very small price. And yeah, they don't know that they can do more with their ulos. So our program helps to broaden their horizons, that if they learn about business development, they learn about marketing and promotion, they actually can finish one piece of ulos, and then they can sell it with branding. Maybe they can sell it through Instagram, and then they can have more money. So yeah, some of our beneficiaries having more and more benefit after they joining our programs. So sometimes I feel like, feel like touched if my program really helps the people to get gain back from the work that they do. I hope it's not confusing.
No.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's all for our interview session. And thank you, Anna, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sama.